Philip Gardner, and I'd like to invite you to journey with me into the heart of an ancient and sacred mystery that truly lies within ourselves. This is a journey of ages, and one that transcends ordinary human thought. It is the secret at the very heart of the Temple of Soloman. Gnosis means knowledge of the most esoteric kind. This is the story that has been kept from the ears of mankind for too long. It is a truth hidden beneath the layers of religious deceit for centuries. This is the truth behind the world's most infamous secret societies, including the Knights Templar. It is the revelation of the arcane secrets of mankind and the amazing discovery of the secret of Solomon's temple. You cannot live life until you have the Gnosis. Many people have no understanding of what Gnosis means. Others think that it simply means knowledge and leave it at that. Yet there is a deeper meaning attached to this word. It is a word that gave rise to the title Gnostic, or one who has this special knowledge. They practiced a spirituality that was distinctly more Eastern than the Western version of Christianity we see around us today. The term Gnosis in truth is the direct mystical experience of the divine in the self. It is the realization of the true nature of ourselves and cannot be discerned through intellectual dogma and doctrine. For whoever does not know self does not know anything, but whoever knows self already has acquired knowledge about the depth of the universe. So were the words of Christ according to St. Thomas, and these few words reveal the depth of the belief in this peculiar and seemingly difficult to comprehend system. It seems we are being told by the ancients that the most important place to search for truth, the divine, and for ultimate knowledge of the universe is within ourselves. The goal of this Gnosis is to discover this true inner reality, which also gives us an insight into the very universe. I shall give you what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no hand has touched, and what has never arisen in the human mind. These were the words attributed to Christ, and what we shall discover is that this Christ of the Gospels is nothing other than the true inner reality of ourselves. The words of Christ match those of other leading historical avatars because it is a kind of archetype within each one of us in a very quantum way. If we can obtain the wisdom and knowledge of this true Christ, then we shall be able to see what no eye has seen, and hear what no ear has heard. We shall truly touch what has never arisen in the human mind, because what we shall see is much more than just a creation of this human mind of ours. I am the great and He my Lord. I see the blessed, the one true soul. Because of mankind's attempts at manifesting the mystical into the physical world, he has created mysteries for the rest of us. The secret knowledge presented here would have resulted in my own tormented death at the fiery stake had I written so blatantly in previous centuries. Only those who already knew the secrets had the eyes to see and the ears to hear. Men whom we would today class as alchemists and occultists hid their understanding behind language and imagery that was multi-layered. In order for us to fully comprehend exactly what this Gnosis is, we must first understand the background and history to this hidden world. We must come to an understanding that our present orthodox history is basically incorrect. Over the course of the last few centuries, there has been an ongoing rewriting of history by those in power, both ecclesiastical and political. As any good historian will tell you, the history of the world has been written mainly by the victors. The victory could be a military conquest, a political or religious campaign. Either way, the losers are generally silenced and eradicated from their history books, or even vilified and made to look foolish. When we are told that the war was won by the glorious and good, we must be wary of what we read. The same is true when we read of the supposed victories of, say, Christianity. We read, for instance, that St. Patrick went to Ireland and defeated the serpents, eradicating the country of all the indigenous snakes. This is blatantly not true, as Ireland has no snakes. In fact, what this little story is really referring to is the existence of a serpent-worshipping cult in Ireland from prehistoric times that were replaced by the new cult of Christianity, and this is linked to the worship of what we shall discover to be the wisdom of the serpent. It also refers to the fact that St. Patrick overcame the power of the serpent and therefore mastered it. The snake is intricately linked with magic and mythology in almost every culture. It is seen as the personification of wisdom and goodness, and alternatively as the personification of evil, thus revealing the duality implicit to its nature and to the nature of the energy serpents known as the Ida and Pingala, which traverse the spine in the Hindu tradition known as the Kundalini. This Kundalini explains one of the reasons why the serpent or snake was used in all wisdom literature, as the Kundalini was the expression of the path to true wisdom. Its dual nature as both the cure and the killer is almost unique. This internal union has been depicted throughout history as the sexual union, and eventually came through in history as the alchemist's hermaphrodite or androgyny figure. Some say that originally the snake was the symbol of the virgin goddess, giving birth to the cosmos unaided by any male principle, an almost androgynous element of creation, the coiled or spiral symbol of the serpent representing her vagina. Is your love strong enough? Or are you lost and out to sea? In Egyptian mythology, the pyramid texts speak of the snake as celestial, earthly, and subterranean, a trinity aspect. As the divine phallus, the serpent was in perpetual copulation with Mother Earth, and represented the axis mundi, passing through all three realms of hell, earth, and heaven. All of this is symbolic of opening up a pathway in ourselves to allow an internal dialogue between our lower nature and our higher senses or consciousness. Now we must turn to the enlightenment experience. This experience, we must understand, comes directly from the internal, chemical, electrical, biological reactions to our own thought processes. It is, in essence, something we can create ourselves, and this is the divinity within ourselves, spoken of, albeit often in hidden language, by many ancient and not so ancient writers. The early messiahs were gurus and shamans who understood how the world worked in their own unique way. They received their knowledge via the trance state and this inner enlightenment experience. This energy is nothing more than the serpent fire, solar force or pranic energy of the serpent worshipping mystics of the world. Without the energy of the serpent fire, there could be no gnosis, or so we are told, but we must also control it. And yet, what is this energy? And have scientists ever discovered it, or even looked for it? Over the course of human history, there have been thousands of individuals who have claimed to have experienced enlightenment or illumination, giving rise to the term shining as far back in history as we care to go. If it is true that mankind across the world and across time has been having these experiences, and they are very real experiences, then it is true to state that they must be brought on by some kind of energy. This energy is both the electrical charge within the nervous system to the brain and the chemical and biological reactions within our brain, brought on by numerous methods of meditation, prayer and dervish. These ancient methods were discovered over the course of tens of thousands of years and have been perfected by initiates and adepts in many cults and creeds. The methods do work. They do create altered states of awareness via the electrical, biological and chemical reactions that they generate. The question scientists, among them psychologists, are asking is simply whether the reactions are purely biological functions, accidentally discovered by mankind, or are they truly mystical and spiritual capacities of the higher self? The answer to this can in the end only lay with the individual, but we may have other insights into the whole scientific element of the process by digging a little deeper. In ancient Sanskrit, there is a word known as sunya, and simply put, it means zero, and is related to a modern concept known as the void. How is this ancient metaphysical concept of nothingness related to a modern quantum world we call the void? And how is this related to the ultimate knowledge of mankind? Imagine, if you will, a large sea or lake. We know in our Western world that this body of water is made up of tiny molecules, which themselves are made up of atoms. Inside these amazing atoms we discover a mini solar system, not dissimilar to the solar systems we see ourselves. This mini solar system is made up of a nucleus, which is equated with the Sun, with electrons revolving around it like planets. The space between these mini stars and planets is the science of the void, and is no different to the void of the space between the Sun and its orbiting planets. In actual fact, the majority of both the mini solar system in the atom and that of the macrocosmic solar system is made up of this void. Incredibly, if we were to travel even further into the centre of the nucleus